herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. We're on iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1, and all our platforms. Sirius XM 83 again. Anywhere you want to get us, anywhere you generally get us, podcast, Twitter, we are still there. Now, we are in a radio studio for the time being. Hopefully that changes. Bob Costas joins me next hour. We've been very fortunate trying to bring on some big names. A lot of people are at home. Had Mark Cuban last week. Had Charles Barkley last week. So Bob Costas next hour is on the show, and Joy Taylor's joining me. Joy, I know what you did this weekend. You didn't leave your house, right?
Lay low like you're supposed to, yes. But you know what? We're all figuring out. This is the new normal, right?
It is the new normal. And here's something I do want to say about the virus. Post 9/11, we could go to games, and we had concerts, and you could go outside, and you could go to restaurants. That was a great distraction in a very anxiety-filled time in America post 9/11. With the virus, we can't do any of that. What does that mean, Colin? It means that there's a little more anxiety, a little more panic. That's being cooped up in a house with your kids. Small, compressed anxiety. That would be, with or without the virus, a tougher life. So just take that into consideration now. I try to give myself about an hour a day online reading some of the virus stuff. Otherwise, I try to entertain myself, my kids, do the best I can. But post 9/11, we had distractions to take our mind off it. Everybody's telephone usage is going up 60, 75%. It tells you every week how you did the previous week. Look at it. We're ramping, doubling, tripling, quadrupling our consumption. Therefore, it elevates our anxiety. Stress hurts your immune system. It actually does. So take a deep breath. We'll get through it. There's a lot of positive signs in the last 24 hours. I want to start my show with this. Perception often becomes reality. And this is a frailty to our human condition. We read, we're curious, we learn something, and then we refuse to move off it. I'm a Trump guy. Therefore, you don't care how bad he butchers a press conference. You're on his side. You're deeply embedded. If you can't stand him, I can't stand that guy. Then he could pass interesting legislation. He's not to blame for something, but you're going to blame him anywhere. You're embedded in that position. That's why it's important. I try to do it all the time. I make this mistake too. Don't get deeply embedded in beliefs. Be willing to get new information and move off it, because otherwise perception will become reality. And I'll give you an example. Cam Newton. The perception watching him in college and watching him up to his MVP year is that he's a great football player. The reality is, since the MVP season, he's not as good as Tyrod Taylor. And that's why the L.A. Chargers didn't want him. My friend Bucky Brooks writes an article, the Chargers should go after him. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. Tyrod Taylor wins more. Yes, wins more than Cam since Cam's post-MVP season. Tyrod Taylor, no drama. Tyrod Taylor, 100% healthy. Tyrod Taylor, low maintenance, mature, a very easy distributor of the football. The Chargers just had Phillip Rivers throw 20 picks. They are looking with their roster, which they plug the only holes in free agency, guard and left tackle. They want a distributor without drama. They've had drama. It's called Phillip Rivers. Big plays, big interceptions, not as reliable. They don't want that. I'll give you a perception versus reality number. The last 46 starts for Cam Newton and Tyrod Taylor. Remember, you loved Cam in college. It's embedded. Number 1 pick, embedded. MVP season, embedded. It's never been the same quarterback. In his last 46 starts, Cam Newton is 23-23. Tyrod Taylor, with the Bills and the Browns, 2 rebuilding teams, is better. 24 wins, 21 losses, and a tie. Cam Newton, since his MVP season, 65 touchdowns and 45 picks. Tyrod Taylor, with the rebuilding Bills and the rebuilding Browns, 54 touchdowns and 20 picks. Completion percentage, Tyrod Taylor, 62. Cam Newton, 59. Passer rating, Cam Newton 82, Tyrod Taylor 90. People are so embedded on Cam because he was so fantastic at Auburn. And he's the number one draft pick. And he's big and he's strong. And early in his career, the arm strength. By the way, I talked to 2 executives last week that said they think something's messed up with Cam's arm. He doesn't throw it the last 4 years like he used to. But if you look at Cam Newton, the perception is he's amazing. And the perception is Tyrod Taylor can't really play. The reality is Cam post-MVP is average. And Tyrod Taylor post-MVP, same 46 starts, is an average quarterback. Cam and Tyrod Taylor are the same guy. One's bigger and stronger, makes more mistakes, less accurate, more drama, hard to coach, and we don't know his health. The gap between the two is tiny. And if coachability matters and if health matters, I could say Tyrod Taylor gets the edge. But the Chargers look at it and think, we got all these players. We just want distribution without drama. We've had drama. It's called Phillip Rivers. We're over drama. So, again, you get in bet. Also, Tyrod Taylor is perceived to be a good mentor. So if the Chargers draft a quarterback, Tyrod's the kind of guy that would help out. You know, they signed him to a contract. He'd help out. Cam probably not as great there. Cam also could never be a backup. He's just too big of a celebrity. Tyrod's been a backup. But it's funny, isn't it? Cam Newton, last 46 starts, with what's perceived to be a better coach, Ron Rivera, and absolutely more Pro Bowlers and better players than the Browns and Bills, Cam's got worse numbers. When you get embedded in something, deeply, deeply embedded, and you're not willing to look at new data, you're missing reality. The perception of Cam up here and Tyrod down there is simply not true. Let me shift to this. John Lynch, I covered him in Tampa. I worked with him at Fox, and now I root for him with the 49ers. So there's these stories. Man, I'm telling you, when it comes to this virus, there are people that either see opportunities and people that see nothing but obstacles. John Lynch said, no excuses. There's no excuses. Work harder. Lynch went to Stanford, was initially a quarterback. They told him he couldn't be a quarterback. He became a safety and an all-pro. My theory on what's going to happen in the draft is GMs, the bad ones, are people that see obstacles, they'll make excuses. The good ones see opportunities, they'll flourish. Here's what I find funny about all the guys in the NFL complaining about the virus and what it's creating. They had the combine. There was an actual combine. They had the Senior Bowl. All the teams went to it. They have 3 to 4 years of tape on players. As long as we're talking about technology at some point today and about what we're facing, phones in America, last time I checked, still worked. And, oh, by the way, it's called FaceTime. This is something scouts didn't have in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. They didn't have it 6, 7 years ago. FaceTime. Use it. This virus, it's amazing to listen to the excuse makers. Stop it. There are people that are born with more anxiety. They're born, it's innate. It's in their DNA. But the idea that every team in the league went to the Senior Bowl, every team in the league has 4 years of tape. Alabama players tend to leave early, maybe 3. Every team got 45 interviews at the combine, each interview 18 minutes. That's not enough. American Idol, they give you 15 seconds and decide you got it or you don't. Every NFL player I ever ask, and I ask this regularly, when do you know if a draft pick can play or not? They're like 2 practices. 2 practices, you know. Guy's got it, guy doesn't. Technology has never given scouts, from FaceTime, that's just one example. It gives scouts opportunities they never had. Ask your kids, if you don't know how to use it, how to use it. I don't want to hear excuses. If you got 3 years of tape, maybe 4, 45-minute, 18-minute interviews at the combine, FaceTime, phones, the Senior Bowl, and you're still struggling with it, you're a bad GM. Get over it. There's either roadblock people Obstacle people are opportunity people. Watch the smarter people in this league flourish. It's not that difficult. It's the new normal, as Joy said. It's just the new world we live in. Deal with it. Coming up next, why I do think there will be an NBA season. I go back and forth on this thing. I'm back in the I think we'll have an abridged NBA season. Doug Gottlieb later this hour. Bob Costas next hour. Chris Long, son of Howie, a two-time Super Bowl champ, will join us on a Monday. Thanks so much for taking time for us. A lot of options out there. We certainly appreciate it. I have officially run out of shirts. I am wearing this, for our radio audience, black, whatever you call it, for the second time in 12 days. Goulet now dresses better than me. We've got a problem. Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of the first year automatically. No limit on how much you can earn. In fact, it's even more amazing because 99% of the places that take credit cards take Discover. So get used to hearing the word yes. Go to discover.com/yes. Limitations apply. 2020 Nielsen report. All the cash back you earn on your credit card end of your first year is automatically matched, and there is never, ever a limit. Discover.